Are we good? All right, I'm going to get started, and first off, let's start off with a word of prayer, and then we'll go from there. Lord, I thank you for this time and for giving me your desire to give this little talk and help me to have the right words and to give advice where advice can be given and not to freak people out. Thank you, Lord, for your blessings. Amen. All right, well, most of you, I am Steve Barnes. I am one of the elders here at the church, and I am the cybersecurity manager for New Lisbon Broadband in New Lisbon, Indiana, down by Newcastle. I'm going to have to remember that doesn't click when that clicks. And why is this not clicking? Oh, there we go. I've had 38 years in the communications and computer industry. Again, I'm the cybersecurity manager for New Lisbon Telephone. I have served on multiple cybersecurity committees around national organizations. I still am on 2 different boards at the current time. Husband of Rebecca for 37 years. I have 4 daughters. And again, I'm an elder here at the church. So I want to preface this by saying the internet is not good. The internet is not bad. Okay? The internet is information. It is no different than the information that's in the books across the road. There is more information out there in the internet than what's across the road at the library, but it is all, it's out there. There is a lot of bad stuff out there, but there's an awful lot of good stuff. There's a lot of good things you can do with the internet. But one of the things, as I have here is Ecclesiastes 7:29, but I did find this: God created people to be virtuous, but they have each followed their own downward path. So anytime there's good, people find a way to turn things bad. And the same thing goes with Ecclesiastes 1:9. What has been will be again. What has been will be done again. There is nothing new under the sun. Some churches back in medieval times thought that the printed word of the Bible was bad because they weren't sure that everybody should be able to read the Bible on their own and comprehend it themselves. It's just human nature that things change. And so the internet is no different. So how has communications changed? Back in 1850, to get a letter from New York to San Francisco took 3 months. Trains made that delivery in the same 21 days. Telegraph system made that happen in an hour, but a 10-word telegram was $7.40 back in 1861, and that was equivalent of $265 today to send 10 words. Then phones became the new communication service in the 1900s. Email came around in 1988, but really didn't get popular until like 1990 with AOL and Netscape and all those things. And then here we are today. Back in November of 2023, it was estimated 3.47 billion emails happen today. 347 billion per day. I feel like my inbox could challenge that and be 3 times that, but that's where we're at. So what is cybersecurity? Cybersecurity is an all-encompassing thing. Basically, it has to do with, yes, cyber, which is stuff out in the cyber world, out in the internet, out in, whether it be your computer, whether it be a cell phone, a tablet, kiosks in malls, in whatever. Everything has to do with cybersecurity. It has to do with your ability to keep your information secure. And that's what cybersecurity is. And why is that important? Well, data is now exchanged around the world in seconds at any time, and your data is out there. I'm not going to lie to you. All of your data is out there. If you've ever had a background check done here in the United States, national public data was breached earlier in the year. Billions of people's information is out there in the dark web for anyone to access. And so you just have to realize your data is out there. You may not want it to be, but it's out there. And, since that time's happened, I've been getting all kinds of emails and text messages and all kinds of things because it's out there and people have free access to it and they can send it to you. So how do you protect yourself from anything more? What can you do to protect it? So that's what we're going to talk about. And then who does it affect? It affects everyone. Again, there isn't probably anyone in this room or watching online that isn't affected by this. And not only is it affecting us, it's affecting the elderly, it's affecting our newborn children even. It affects everyone. So why is it important to discuss this? And that is just very simply so that you understand what you can do to help protect yourself. Yes, it's out there. There's stuff out there on the dark web, but there's always been ways to find out information about you depending on how much somebody wanted to pay. The question is how easy are you making it for someone to get your information? And so that's what we're going to talk about. So all of us have computers, probably. There's some going to be some additional questions, but one of the things that we've always talked about since the day of first computers is antivirus. Got to have an antivirus. Got to have McAfee or Norton or whatever else there was out there. And so the question now is, do I need to pay for an antivirus? And for business, you definitely do. Business, there's not so much of there is, Microsoft if you're using Microsoft products like Microsoft Windows 11, Windows 10, whatever, it comes with Windows Defender. It's a free package. It catches 99% of anything that you're going to get as a private individual. There are additional software that you need for business to help protect you if you're at home and you get a virus on your computer or someone hacks your computer and they get access, they may have access to your documents. They may have access, if you keep financials on there, it may have access to that kind of stuff. But most of these hackers don't care about the individual any longer. If they're going to spend their time and energy hacking into computers, they want to get into corporate America to where they get the big bucks. So is antivirus really needed? What is a virus? Again, a long time ago, viruses were Trojan horses. So, you download a software and it gives access into your computer. Most generally, the goal of their access into your computer is so that they can use your computer to get someplace else. They're not getting into your computer to access your information. They want to use it to get into somebody else's stuff. And there's video cameras and there's all kinds of stuff that they can use now to do that with as well. But, so antiviruses isn't as critical as home as it used to be. And so if you have that situation, you have, Microsoft's got a free one. Macintosh, you can get viruses on iPads, iMacs, all those kinds of things, but it's very rare. And again, generally they're not going to want to get yours. And the same thing goes with the new Chromebooks and those things. And so, the concern that I have is all these big antivirus programs that they had in the past. One of the ones that a lot of people were utilizing was a program called Kaspersky. And Kaspersky has been found to be owned by part of the Russian government. And so they were utilizing it. So it's really illegal for you to have it in the United States, and they're supposed to have shut it all down and transferred you to a different antivirus program in the process. So, the other thing about these big antivirus programs that you have on your systems, they really slow your computer down. 20% at times they can slow your computers down. So really, if you just use the stuff that comes with Windows or keep your stuff clean, be wise about what you're doing, that's the case. The other part that unless you're running a business, do you really need a computer nowadays? Chromebooks, iPads, what can't you not do on those? 90% of the stuff is done on the internet. If you want to write a document, there's Google Docs. If you want, the iPad's got their writer and different things like that. There is all kinds of stuff. So do you really need a computer that has that much capability? Do you need to spend $1,200 on a computer? If you've got kids with games and everything else, why not buy a couple $100 game console and not get them these big laptops? Now, if they're going to go into business, if they're going to go into programming, if they're going to go into those kinds of things, then maybe you need a computer. So that was just a thought that I had when I was going through this. One of the things that you will always hear people talk about is your passwords. Okay? So I was going to have a slide here, and I forgot to add it in. And the slide was going to say, someone got your password, now you have to change your dog's name. Okay? The reason why I say that is, Greg just spent, my son-in-law Greg works in the military as a cybersecurity person, and he's part of his job is changing passwords and things, and that's one of the things that I have always found is people use their family members' names, their dogs' names, their cats' names, and things like that for a password. And they use the exact same password for Facebook, for Gmail, for Twitter, for X, for whatever else, to pay their bills at the at AEP, for Comcast, NLBC, whatever it is. They have one password because I don't want to forget my passwords. Okay. That's really bad. So, and I'll tell you why. Passwords should be at least 12 characters, 14 if best. There's stuff that you can look up online and type in, something like your password, and see how long it will take a current computer of today to crack that password. And if it's like 8 characters, it's like a couple of days. If it's 10 characters, it's like, a week. If it goes to 12 characters, it's like a couple of months. You go to 14 characters, and you add in spaces, capitals, all the different things, and all of a sudden it goes to years for them to be able to crack it. It's amazing what it takes to crack those, but the more characters, the more randomized it is, the better off that it can be. So I'm going to also tell you guys, Bud is doing it. If you want to take pictures of slides, take pictures of slides. That's why I put them up here, and that's why they're that big. But this password that I have here, God is good all time. Okay? I've got a capital, I've got a space. Instead of is, I put 1-5. Space, good, all, capital A. Time, I've replaced the 1 and the M and 3. Don't use this, okay? Come up with something like this, but don't use this one because I don't want all of you to change all your passwords to this. But, it can be, I married my wife in 1987. If your passwords allow spaces, spaces really throw the password hackers clear off. They just can't, they can't, because they don't know where you put a space in there. So they have to try all the combinations all the time. And if it's a sentence that you type out, it makes it really easy. If you're doing it for your internet provider, this is for my internet account. For your maybe your power company, this is where I get my power. And just change some of the letters so that you know what it is. Pass phrases is what they're now calling it instead of password. Use a pass phrase, and just an idea. So, and again, different password for each account. Know it's a hassle, but it's best for you. Email protection, and this is something, I don't know how many times I have said this or had this said to me. You are the last line of defense. Every one of your emails, if you have Gmail, Yahoo, Microsoft, it used to be MSN, it's now Outlook, depends on what they changed it this week. There's just all kinds of email servers out there. If you have a good email server from any internet provider or anything like that, your emails will have gone through at least 4 levels of protection before it gets to you. And if it gets to you and it ends up in your spam box, that's even another one. So they've gone through all these different kinds of verifications of your email. So, but they get through. Got one today. It got through. And got through all the different protections. They're trying all their best they can. And I could tell right away. I marked on my thing, send it to spam, or mark it as a phishing email, and send it on its way. But you are the last person. No one should open every email. You get junk. You get spam. You get all kinds of things. If you open every email and look at every single one of them, just remember, Steve said I shouldn't open every email, okay? If you don't take anything out of this, don't open every email. It's, if you don't need it, don't look at it. Amazon ads, they'll stay there. They can stay in your inbox, delete them, go from there, okay? What is spam? Spam is just nothing more than it's just, junk mail coming to you. Phishing is a different thing. They're phishing, trying to get you to open stuff that have bad links to other places. And so you want to protect yourself. If you don't know what it is, then don't open it, okay? So with that being said, there's other things. Multi-factor authentication, it's a hassle, I understand. I live and die by it. I have 4 different authenticators on my phone because I have accounts all over the place that I have to I can't even turn on my computer in the morning without having to type in my password, put my armpit up there, go through and get my phone out and hit approve and all these different things to get into it. But nobody's going to ever get into my system, with those things. So Gmail has started implementing multi-factor authentication. Outlook is putting that stuff that is not bad. Just live with it. And usually most of those you can save and say, don't ask me again for 30 days. But if you take that computer and you go on vacation to somebody else, someplace else, and you're opening it from a different location, or somebody steals it and they open it up, and they get past your first level of authentication, then they're still going to get this, and you're going to get it on your phone saying somebody's trying to open your email. That is a good thing, okay? Use email services that protect you, knowing where the email come from. The Nigerian prince is never a good place to open your emails from. The IRS is never going to send you an email telling you that you've got to respond to them within 24 hours or they're going to take your home. That's never going to happen. Banks needing you to email them immediately, it's not going to happen, okay? They're going to send you letters. Usually it's going to come, with, you have to sign for them kind of thing. So I'm going to come back to this one. This is an email, and I actually got to watch my time because I got a lot to talk about. This is a sample of an email, okay? And we're going to go through some of this stuff. And this is an email from Amazon telling you that, response is required. We're writing to inform you that you have logged into your account to ensure proper delivery of the package. As safety measure, click here as soon as humanly possible to resolve the issue. Failure to do so will charge you extra, or follow this link, whatever. And thank you for being a customer sincerely. Okay. So go back. Generic greetings, emails starting with dear customer to a user, are not going to come from companies like that. They're going to say, Kayla Barnes. Okay? Suspicious links that lead to unfamiliar websites and things like that. Attachments from unknown senders, urgency tactics, like act now, limited time offer, that try to get you to make a hasty decision. Poor grammar, that's always the best one. I'm bad at grammar, but I do better than a lot of these guys do on this stuff. Spoof sender address. So let's go through this. This Amazon Resolution Center. Amazon, spelled with 2 N's, at Gmail. Okay? Amazon is not going to send you something from Gmail. That's just, up here, wherever this thing went to, whatever. Amazon Gmail is not going to be a thing. Package arriving late. Please respond quickly. Click on links. And if you would highlight, if you take your mouse and put it over that link, it's going to come up and send you to some place that's not Gmail and not Amazon. It's going to send you all over the place. Sincerely, they didn't go through and even say it, from who it was from. So these are some of the things, again, misspelled, not from the company, take action required. We are writing. I spell bad, but writing, really. Ensure proper delivery of the package. Click here, there's a link, link that doesn't, that you just don't click these things, and, act as soon as possible, urges things. So these are just things you've got to watch out for. All right, nope. So I'm going to move now from email to social media. And this is where a lot of us live today, especially with kids. Facebook at 3.7 billion monthly active users. Okay? 8 billion people in the world, 3.7 billion of them are active users each month on Facebook. YouTube, 2.5 billion. WhatsApp, 2 billion. Instagram, TikTok, WeChat, even Facebook Messenger. This is where we live. This is where kids live today. Okay? Now I'm going to show you, and some of you may have seen this on Facebook. Okay? It was a video. I couldn't do a video very well, so I took snapshots of different days. And again, this is kind of blurry. You imagine taking it from a video this big to 8 foot. It's a little blurry, but this is the amount of free time spent with. So, we have up here at the top, we have friends. Originally, back in the 1950s, we had 29% or 22% with friends, 20% spent with family, school, church was 7%, co-workers, and online, of course, in 1950, there wasn't online, so there wasn't any percentage of that. Change that to 1990, 40-year jump, and still at 1990, only 0.2%, but already friends have gone up, family has jumped down. Now we're spending more time at work and at restaurants and bars. and less time at church. We went from 7% down to 5% at church. Jump 10 more years, and all of a sudden, online is up to 4%. Families clear down to 11. Church is still around 5, and friends is still at the top. 2006, now online has jumped clear up from 0 to 4 to 11% of the time of free time being spent. 11% of that is being spent online. And that was in 2006. 2010, you can see it jumped even higher. 2014, it took over and we started doing everything online and not with friends. 2019, here it's at 45%. Neighbors and family your neighbors are clear down to 1.8. Church is at 3, but online's at 45. And then the estimated for this year is 60% of our free time will be spent online. Church is down to 2. Families at 4.5, where it used to be 25%. This is the direction things going. Why is social media so important? Why does it affect people? Why is it doing what it's doing? What I'll say to you is talk to your kids about using social media. Find a way, if you got kids at home, about using social media. Set boundaries for using social media. And then talk to your kids about using the internet. And then talk to your kids and make a plan. You can never talk to your kids too much about this. The marketers understand that the youth is where this is going. They want to get the next generation, not us. Not us who are 50 and above. They want to get that next generation. There's positives, So again, as I said in the beginning, all things have positives and negatives. And learn ways of completing tasks. I don't repair my car without YouTube. Serious. I just remodeled Kayla's house. If I couldn't figure out how to do it, I went to YouTube. You can find out how to do anything on YouTube, and it's good. It saves me a lot of money. Communicate with family and friends that have moved. I have a daughter in Maryland, daughter in Indianapolis, daughter in Williamsport, daughter in Winchester, and I live in Ridgeville. Once a month, we have family chat night, and we get online on Facebook, and we go around the computer talking about what's going on with your lives. Yeah, and throughout the week, we communicate all the time with text messages and all kinds of things. When Dixie went to Brazil, they got on a boat. They didn't communicate for a long time. Letters back and forth from South America, months. My daughter in Maryland is 1 second away via text or cell phone. It's good stuff. We live now in a worldwide economy, so you can stay informed on current events around the globe. Sometimes that's good, sometimes that's bad, it is. But you know what's going on. You know how to pray for people in other parts of the world. What's happening to them. The pray for the martyrs and those kinds of things. We would have no idea that a lot of that stuff happens. And it's been going on for as long as the world's been here. We just now know about it in days or hours sometimes. And, again, you can share information, to people that you need to. But they're negatives. Cyberbullying, misinformation, fraud, sextortion, and deepfake. And I'm going to go into some of these. So what is cyberbullying? Cyberbullying is, using digital technologies to bully people. And it's not just on a computer. It could be, they're doing it on Xboxes. They're doing it on PlayStations. They're doing it on Nintendo DSs. They can chat back and forth and start insulting each other. And before it's done and over with, there's all kinds of things going on. They spread lies, posting embarrassing photos. There's just lots of things that happen because, people do things on the internet. They do it in the private of their home, and then all of a sudden they share it, and they, why they do that, I don't know, but it just, that is part of it. So some of the things, misinformation. This is one of the biggest ones at the current time that's being used. Newspapers for years always wanted to find ways to slant things in the direction that they are. But, misinformation on the web today is humongous. And, I'm going to be honest, I don't care whether you're on, a right winger or a left winger. It's used all over the place, and I'll show you a little bit later that it's sometimes used to promote things. It's sometimes used to harm things, to change people's mindset about what is going on in the world. Because again, this is a world thing, and if you can get the world backing your point of view, or a large group of people backing your point of view, then that's their goal. These cognitive biases of your logical faculties. Cyber attacks using malware, viruses, and Trojans, whereas misinformation uses deep fakes, and I'll talk about deep fakes a little bit more, manipulated data, and misappropriated information. Sometimes it's not wrong information, they're just using it wrongly. So there's just all kinds of things that you have to be careful about with that. Cognitive hacking is a new thing. And you're like, well, that couldn't happen to me. It happens to you all the time. You don't even realize it. Cognitive hacking is, threat from misinformation and online propaganda. It exploits people's inherent biases, which can result in them losing sight of what is real. Cognitive hacking is not a new thing, but the event of the algorithmic social media means disinformation can spread rapidly. If you spend much time searching the internet, you use Google, you go on Facebook, use things on Facebook, and these algorithms that they have pay attention to everything you do. Everything you do. If you are on Facebook and the wonderful little reels that can all of a sudden take up 2 hours of your life before you realize what just happened, so I can see that I'm not alone. If you get in there on the reels and you're clicking on reels and you're watching along and you're like, nah, that one's boring. That one's boring. And then all of a sudden there's puppy dog coming around bouncing across your screen, and you watch it clear to the end. You're like, oh, that was cute. You go up, it's a cat. Oh, I hate cats. Scroll that, do that kind of stuff. All of a sudden you realize, well, there's more puppy dogs. You watch the puppy dog. You scroll up, oh, more puppy dogs. They want to grab the attention of you of what you're interested in. If you are a young man and you spend too much time looking at attractive young women in those videos, you are going to get more and more attractive young women. If you are a person who likes to watch fast cars, all of a sudden, all your videos are going to be fast cars. We're moving. I did a search on Google looking at new microwaves for above our stove. I am now getting, and that was Google, I am now getting Facebook ads for microwaves. I get ads in my Google News feed for microwaves. Here a while back, I was looking up stuff on a different car, and now I'm getting all these car things. They utilize what you're looking at to help you to enhance that. After the last hurricane that went through, took out North Carolina, I watched a lot of videos of North Carolina. I am still getting videos of North Carolina. But I've checked on some of them even aren't even of North Carolina. Some of them are things in China. Some of them are things in Japan. But they're floods coming through people's villages. And they're just continually changing your view of these things. So that's what cognitive hacking is. So protecting your kids. This is something that, if you're going to take a shot of anything, this would be something that I would really like to see people enact. There's free options on your iPhone devices. There's Apple Screen Time. Apple Screen Time will, and the same thing with Google Family Link. You can just, Google those or Bing them or whatever you want to do to find them and look at those. You can put those on your phone, on your tablets, on your computers, all those things, and they can help control how much time you allow yourself or your kids to use the internet, whether they can go to social media, whether they can, how much time can they use on social media. There is a whole bunch of things that you can do for that on those two apps. And they're completely free by the manufacturers. So I would recommend utilizing that. If you're a father and you want to go through and protect things at your home, down here, this Open DNS, there's this free filtering. I'm not familiar with this one, but the Open DNS, Home Internet Security, is a really good utility. And if you go to their website, it will go to the point of asking you, what do you want to protect? What do you want to just protect? Ads and junk websites or pornography and these things? And it will say, you select, I want to do this. It said, okay. What type of router do you have? And it will, you tell it the name of your router, and it'll tell you stuff, and it will give you step by step how to go through and change your internet settings in the router so that anyone in your home is protected from things on the internet. Now, it's not going to. This one is not going to control, your social media and those kinds of things, but it is going to protect at what level you can go to websites and do and get into bad websites. So part of cybersecurity is also protecting your cell phone. The biggest threat to your cell phone is the user. How you misuse them. Again, install only apps that you really need. You do not need to have every bubble shooter app on your phone. You don't need to have every Jewel app on your phone. One is sufficient. If you don't like it, uninstall it, install the next one. But at the same time, do not give apps full permission to your system. Why does a bubble shooter app need access to your GPS coordinates, your location data? Why do Why does a jewel game or a crossword puzzle game need access to your contacts? When they come up and ask for these rights, tell it no. And if it says, well, you can't use this program without those rights, then you probably don't need to you probably don't need to use that app. Some of those apps, Apple Play Store, Google Play Store, all those, they do a really good job at protecting and not allowing bad software on their Play Stores, but they do slip through. There is sometimes ones that have malware. They get on there, they do all kinds of stuff. There's a really big toss-up at the current time about whether you need a security program on your cell phone. Some people say yes, some people say no. I don't believe that you do, but I believe that it needs to be a phone, a communications device, a text message thing, and maybe a few games. Yes, I have other stuff on there. I have my, some home automation stuff and things like that, and doorbells and those kinds of things. But, just you don't need to have those things loaded down. And use biometrics. If you have a new phone that has the ability that you can use your thumb or a face to unlock it, those are great. If not a very advanced scribble or whatever it is to unlock it, or a code, long code, can be used. So those are definitely things that you need to do to protect that. So I'm going to go off of that to the scarier part of things, and that is artificial intelligence. Basically, what is artificial intelligence? Today, artificial intelligence is basically very fast computer systems, has the knowledge of the entire internet, okay? They cannot think yet, but they have an awful lot of knowledge. They have a lot of ability to do a lot of things. I've played around with it. I'll just show you a neat thing that I did one day as just a fun thing, and that was I entered a recipe for pizza in the King James Version. Okay? And thou shalt take a round thing of dough and spread it abroad and with oil, and put thereupon cheese and mushrooms and sausage, and it as pleaseth thee. And thou shalt bake it in an oven until it is brown, and serve it hot unto thy guest. And there shall be a savory dish, and they shall be satisfied. It's fun. I made one that I was going to put up here. It was write a 2-paragraph letter or note to my wife about how I love her, and something about describe her physical attributes. It was very good. It was kind of embarrassing, and I wouldn't want you guys to all see it because it was very personal. It wasn't rude, but it was, it was really good. These kinds of things are being used to do some tremendous good. I've taken, through different ones, I've taken fake spreadsheets, not from my company, but I've taken fake spreadsheets that were very large and very involved, grids of numbers, about months of information and all kinds of things, put them in there and told it to give me out some very sophisticated charts and graphs, and it did it in seconds. It would have taken me hours to do it. You can have it, you can have artificial intelligence take a database that you have and say, make me an application for my cell phone that will help me to look this up at any time, and it will do it in seconds. It's got tremendous capabilities. There's a lot of great stuff that you can do with it. There's also a lot of bad stuff you can do with it. Again, whatever someone makes as good can be made as evil. This picture was utilized as a reason to support not support the war in Ukraine. This was put out by the Ukrainian government, showing this young girl standing behind rubble and everything else. This was 100% fake. No proof that this was ever the case. And actually it was been debunked since then. What's the funny thing about AI is there is AI stuff that can tell whether it was AI or whether it was original video. So it gets, whatever. This one here was of the Maui fires in Maui, Hawaii. These big columns of fire sticking up was not there. This was used to say that the fires had reignited 2 days after it was out, and it was put out as on social media that fires have reignited. Look how bad it is. This one here, if you're a Marvel studio fan, you'll know Tom Holland, and Tobey Maguire was one of the original Spider-Men. Okay? And you can go online and look up deep fakes, and you'll find this one. This is a whole entire trailer that they took that Tom Holland really originally did, and they put Tobey Maguire in the place of Tom Holland. The whole entire thing. You cannot tell that it wasn't a fully acted out video. I've watched it twice and could not see any places. Now, if you've watched some of the latest Star Wars stuff and they have the young Luke Skywalker that comes back, it looks pretty hokey. It doesn't look that good, okay? And it shows Leia, who, she has passed away, and it shows her in there, and it's really not very good. There's new stuff that you cannot tell that it's not pure human. The concern is the deep fake and the sextortion. They can take a young girl, teenage girl, take her face off of a thing on social media and put her on the body of another person and send her a text message with a picture of supposedly herself and say, if you do not send us $500 in the next week, this will be all over your social media. Your family will know about it, everything else. And there are kids that are doing this. This is why it is terribly important that you talk with your grandkids, your kids, or whatever, and say, do not let this stuff that you know is not real scare you. It may be embarrassing. Don't do it. Don't put your videos of yourself out there. But if you have someone that tries to talk to us about it. But it's not only that kind of thing. Deep fake voice, deep fake videos and things are all over the place. They are now using them for very scary things. There was a bank in outside of Vegas that they got a recording of the CEO of the bank that they used his voice. They created a deep fake audio sampling of it and made it so that he called into a dispersing department and said, I need you to send $3.4 million to this account on my authorization. And they did it. And this was a personal friend that they called. And they sit there and they, the person says, well, how do I know it's you? And he typed out some stuff and they had just all the right information to where verbally it happened. They transmitted the data, and when it come across his desk, he's like, what is this for? And they're like, you called us and told us to transfer this money. That's the kind of stuff that they're doing. They're utilizing your voices and things to make that stuff happen. And again, a lot of this is for big business and that kind of work. But there have been issues, even in our own church here, to where we've gotten emails at the office saying from Pastor Rob that he needed someone to bring him or to get $250 and leave it because he was in prayer and not able to get it personally, send it to this person. So it's out here. Also, they're utilizing various recording methods, whether they use your voicemail outbound message, I'm not available, please leave a message after thing. They call into it, they record it, and then they may call an older family member and say to them with a computer voice that sounds just like you, I have been arrested. I need you to send $500 to this PayPal account to get me out of jail. And that is happening as well. So I recommend that you work with your families, come up with some kind of a, safe code. You have to be careful. You can't say, well, so that I know that it's you, what was your birthday? Well, they know that. That doesn't work. Well, where does your sister live? Well, they know that. That's, it's a matter of coming up with a way to come up and give them the information, to have a information between you and your and some of your families to protect yourself. All of this just comes down to being smart. Don't be gullible. I cannot tell you the number of people, elderly and young alike, in this church that have brought, when we were doing computer work, have brought their computers into us because they got a phone call from Microsoft or from some company saying that they have viruses on their computer and they need to take over their computer and do work. And I'm not talking like one or two, I'm talking like 15 or 20. And this has happened, here in Winchester, some from our church. You've got to not be gullible about this stuff. How'd you get this message? How did I get your email? Is that email real? Is it, look through all the stuff. Is there, if there's anything that doesn't pass the sniff test, the world's not going to end. Bypass it. Go on with the next thing. Hang up on them. If it's legitimate, they'll call back. 99 times out of 10, they won't. But those are just some of the things that have gone through that I've been doing and hearing about. Again, there's a whole lot more, and my job as cybersecurity manager is to protect our networks with our company. As an internet provider, you guys, if you're in a really good internet location, you might have a couple 100 megabit connection speed, or you might have even a gigabit network speed, okay? With our company, I have 50 gigabit. They want into our computers really badly. And so I spend a lot of time each week doing hacking tests, network penetration tests to make sure that they can't get into our networks. October was Cybersecurity Awareness Month for our company, or actually nationally by the Cybersecurity Administration of America. And so, I had to put out 2 or 3 times a week. I tested my people, sent them fake emails, see who I can get to click on them. And, I'm happy to say that most of my staff did a really good job and didn't click on them. And then if they did click on them, then it come up and says, oh, this was a test, you failed. You need to watch this video to train them on how to go through and do that stuff. So that's just part of it. And again, you are the last line of defense for your cybersecurity. Protect your stuff, protect your home, your family, your finances, and your information as best as you possibly can. Protect your kids and your grandkids as much as possible. Again, you can never talk to them too much about this. And if you're like, Steve, you were a little boring. There is lots of stuff on YouTube about cybersecurity awareness. Look it up, find it, make your kids watch it. It's stuff about extortion and things like that. There's all kinds of stuff out there, and there's Christian organizations all over the place that will help you to train your family and give you even better ideas than what I have. So with that, does anybody have any questions? I don't know that I have the answers, but if you have a question about, how should I handle the situation or what should we do in this situation, I'm happy to try to answer. Normally is a very involved thing, so anybody got any questions?
Concerning web browsers, like Google, or I've been asked, because I went to state for transportation, I've been asked to start using DuckDuckGo.
DuckDuckGo,
And can you explain why? What's the differences, and why would somebody think that's better?
Well, DuckDuckGo has a little bit higher, no, I shouldn't say higher. It has less controls that it can do, okay? It is more secure in that it is a little dumber of a browser, but at the same time, it makes it to where when you go to websites, all the cookies and all those kinds of things that, and I'll explain a cookie real quick. When you go to a website, you do a search for something, and and it gets to a website, they drop a cookie in your computer browsing information that says, I've been here. And so if you click on a spot on the website and it takes you to a certain place, and then you go back, and you will notice that that place that you clicked that was like black is now green to say you've been there before. Well, that was a cookie that's stored down on your computer that told you. And so if you look in there, the cookie will actually say you went to this browser, you went to this time, at this date, on this, you did this, and you clicked on this spot, okay? That stuff with DuckDuckGo is immediately cleaned out whenever you exit out of it. It doesn't allow the cookies to stay. And again, there's a lot of the controls. There's some of the stuff, I mean, truthfully, if you looked at the back end on a website, every website that you go to, I can bring up the statistics on our website, nlbc.com. I can bring up the statistics on it, and I would be able to tell how many Mac users, Windows users, what browsers they used, what version of Windows they used, all that information. Because when you click on it and go to that website, that information comes out of your browser and goes up to that website. DuckDuckGo blocks some of those things. It's not as informational, and because let's be honest, Google's goal is to get as much information as what you're doing as possible so they can market the right stuff back. Why are they a multi-trillion-dollar company? If you look at all of their AI, all of their YouTube, all that different stuff, the number one way that they make money is they sell browser data. They sell your information. That's what they do. Because marketers have wanted to know for years, why are you coming to our website? Now they can tell them because they're getting that stuff out of your browser. So you can do that. There's another option, and those of you who are Chrome users, if you want to help protect yourself as much as possible, there's something, if you click up in the little three dots up at the corner, you can click on it and say, open incognito mode. And incognito mode opens a new browser that has no history, and as you browse around and doing whatever, as soon as you close that incognito mode, it's gone. You can do that kind of stuff. So, I don't do that as much as I probably should. If I have a questionable website of any kind, I definitely use incognito mode. So I exactly.
I don't do a lot of web browsing other than going to where I need to work.
Exactly. Other questions? Is there anything I forgot? Greg, is there anything I forgot? That's a good point, and that's something that you got to be careful with. A password manager is a wonderful tool. Okay, I have one, and you got to be careful. Some of the password, the password manager, Google Chrome has a password manager. The jury's still out on how secure it is, but it does help you. You can have it help you generate passwords instead of having to memorizing all of them. I use, there's Bitwarden, there's LastPass, there's, if you just look up password manager, there's all kinds of ones that you have. I utilize LastPass. I actually pay for that because I have so many passwords with, my security things that I have to do. So I have so many passwords. I don't any longer even type out my passwords. As soon as I get into my computer, open my browser, log into my password manager, it comes up and asks me for my multi-factor authentication, and then everywhere I go from there, it enters the passwords for me. If I go to Amazon login comes up, it automatically fills it, I hit login, it goes. If I go to Facebook, it comes up, puts it, it logs in. If I go to Landsweeper, a company you guys never heard of, it automatically fills all that stuff in for me. I've had to have a password to get into my computer, a password to get into the master password of my password manager, a multi-factor authentication of my password. So I'm already 3 layers deep in that, and my passwords are not stored in a usable, it's not, stored in a spreadsheet or a Word document or on my, flip thing on hanging up on the screen on my, on my desk. Or in my notepad that I could, spill coffee on and lose all my passwords. It's a password manager. Now again, I pay for mine. Or I should say the company pays for mine. But the nice thing about it is it's on my cell phone, it's on my laptop here. I have actually 5 computers for the company, and it's on all of those. So, yes, I have to log in every time I go to it, but all those passwords are everywhere. And most of them are like XQX, exclamation, question mark. Most of them are, I use 16 to 24 character passwords for almost everything that I do. LastPass. Again, there's Bitwarden, Again, Google Chrome does have one. You have to log, yeah, you use that one, but these others are a little more secure. Do I? Yep, yep. You can use LastPass and all those on those, but they do have, yeah, some of them are built in. That's true. If you go, but the ones that you just log in one time and then all your passwords are there, a little scary to me. You need to have, I mean, if you can log in one time and they have it, then that means, somebody with if you open up a wrong software and they have a access into your computer, then they have all your passwords because they're in your computer. So, that's the reason why these others that require multiple levels of security to get into the master is better.
I think you hit a record of saying password.
I could go through and I'm sure I could beat it. Again, it's technology. You realize that, cars were evil once upon a time, and that if people ever went over 30 miles an hour, they were going to explode they were going to explode. That was a scientific theory at one time. The internet is, going to be Skynet that's going to destroy the world, or it's going to become the Matrix with the AI, all these different kinds of things. And, we don't know, AI may be the mark of the beast. When we're in heaven someday, we'll know. But until that time period, it is a technology, just like a hammer. You use it, you can injure yourself just as well with a hammer as you can with text. And so, one's emotional, one's physical. Just have to use technology wisely in everything that you do. So, all right, nothing else? I'll close in prayer and we'll put a wrap on this one. Lord, thank you for this time and ask that you help us to be wise in what we do, how we interact with technology. Help us be wise with our kids and our parents and ourselves as we do these. Pray that you would bless these words and use it to glorify you. In your name we pray.